Welcome back to the IBC Guys. I'm here for another it's a quick, I don't know if I call it an episode or workshopping names, but what we do want to do is make sure we are listening. We're getting a lot of great feedback, which is exciting. I was joking with Mike the other day. I didn't really understand how many people I actually knew, and they're listening to it, so that's exciting for us. And my hope is that the heart of the message comes through more than anything else, that we just genuinely want to help people. But in that feedback, we've gotten some questions, and we wanted to address one of those questions specifically today. So it's going to be real quick, just a couple minutes to talk through something that has come up quite a bit. So meeting with people, a question I often get asked, and that has been given in comments and stuff like that on the different platforms. How much does an IBC policy cost? I think it's a very valid question, but it's not as simple of an answer as providing a number. So that's kind of what we're here to talk about today. So, Mike Stevens, how much does an IBC policy cost?
Yeah, and this is a question that we get often. They want to know, they're excited about the process, and they want to know how much does it cost to get in. So there is no really minimum or maximum. I explain it to people that it's kind of like, if you set up a checking account or a savings account at your bank, like how much does that cost? Whatever you want to put in, whatever you want to put in monthly or whatever you want to put in annually, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you want. So we have clients that put in, they have really nothing from a cash savings standpoint, but they want to get started and they want to turn their financial life around and get on the right path, but they don't have a huge nest egg or a chunk of money.
Yeah.
So they just start monthly. They don't throw in 10 grand to begin with. They just start monthly. And we have people that start, I would say, from 125 to 150 bucks a month up to super large policies. So it's all over the spectrum. It's whatever you really want to do. But there are two caveats to building an IBC banking system. And the one is it's based on the minimum death benefit, because as we've mentioned before, we use a specially designed whole life insurance policy with a mutual company to build your IBC banking system, and the insurance companies have a minimum death benefit tied to that whole life policy. So it's going to depend on each individual based on your age and your health and those types of things, as far as what that minimum, say, monthly cost would be, or monthly contribution would be. So again, it may be, if you looked at the very minimum, I have boys that are in college, and I have some of their buddies that want to start their banking system for their family or future family. And one, if you do the minimum amount, one may be $150, where someone else may be $140, because there's differences in ages and male or female, things like that. The second caveat is whatever you decide to set as your banking system, that I'm going to commit to, whatever it be, $150 a month or $3,000 a year, or $10,000 a year, or whatever that is, it has to be the same every year. So let's take, for example, let's say someone says, I want to put in $10,000 a year and start building my system. And then, a year or two in, they say, this is fantastic. I got more things I want to run through there.
Usually the reaction.
I want to put in $20,000 this year. Well, you can't, because remember, this is a contract with a life insurance company, and the amount that you put in, we're using it as a banking system. But that amount that you contribute, the life insurance company equates that to the death benefit that they have to pay your beneficiary tax-free inside the contract. So if someone is putting in $10,000 a year, and let's say that equates to a $500,000 death benefit, and the next year they want to put in 20, Well, per the contract, that's basically $1 million of death benefit. So the life insurance company is going to say, "Wow, Dave, why you want to go from a half a
Something,
million to a million? What's going on? Did you
nefarious.
just
Yeah.
get diagnosed with cancer? We're not going to do that. We want to do another health check, et cetera, et cetera." So you can start with any amount you want to start with. Theoretically, there is a minimum, but it's very small. But whatever amount you want to start with, you just have to do that same amount every month or every year, or what you can do annual payments, you can do monthly payments, it doesn't matter, and start building your policy. And I say payments, it's almost like deposits, because you're putting it into a tax-free
Yeah.
cash flow system is really what it is. I
You
kind of
can
hate
take it out and use it.
the
Yeah. It's
term payment.
deposit. Yeah.
But yeah, start depositing or start saving or start accumulating wealth inside of this IBC system. Whatever you decide to contribute has to stay the same. And everyone, you're going to get bigger and start getting multiple systems. That's what we really train you and help you do. You just need to get, when you want to increase, you can just get another policy, another system. So not a big deal on the amount. You can always go bigger later. But I think that should address the question we get on how much is an IBC policy. There's really no amount. It can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the ambiguity in that answer is difficult. But I'm going to kind of recap. You did a great, kind of stole my thunder, Mike. I was going to recap, and you just did a great job of doing it. So I'm going to do it again, just so I feel like I have something to do. Okay. So the question is, how much does an IBC policy cost? And the answer is there is no minimum. You said there's no minimum or maximum. So the minimum, that there is a death benefit aspect to it, but that is dependent on the person. The younger the person, the older the person, there's a little bit of caveat to that. But you can start, to your point, as small as $150. And if you want to increase that, as people, I haven't had anybody say they've been sad to get an IBC policy. So as you have the desire to increase that, you can start a new one. There's a lot of different things you can do to increase your legacy wealth building that way. But to start, there's no minimum. There are caveats to it. The caveat is that minimum death benefit, and again, that's dependent on the person. Then you have to make the same yearly payment consistently, because you can't just throw $20,000 in one year and then $1 million the next year. There's a consistency to that. And again, that's based on the contract that's signed with the insurance company. Did I get all that correct?
Sounds
All right.
good.
I want to leave kind of with an example in that. I just got done writing a policy with I call him a kid. It means I'm getting old. He's 20 years old, and he owns a company. They have 3 cell phones in their company. It's $150 a month, and he is running his cell phone through an IBC policy. So at the end of that year, he'll have paid off his bills, but he'll still have $1,800 making dividends and interest contractually in his policy. So was going to do what he was going to, what's done is already done. He was going to do it anyway and pay his cell phone bill, but he's keeping that $1,800 building legacy wealth. Next year, it'll be $3,600 doing the same thing he would have done anyway. So get an IBC policy. Have Mike and I help you. Shoot us an email. We in the show notes are all of our contacts for all these platforms and stuff. If you want to email me at dave@familybankingsolutions.com. Mike's is mike@familybankingsolutions.com. We'd be happy to talk with you. Probably the best way to get a hold of us is email. Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff is fine too. But we'd love to talk with you. Love to help with what we can. All right. I appreciate you tuning in. Look forward to talking with you next time.